Hello and welcome, everyone. We are here today for the Epic Income Leap. And this is where we talk with high achieving women who are doing big, bold things in the world. And we're going to break down the behind the scenes of what happens when you're on an epic income leap, when you want to shift, when you want to change, the real stuff that's happening so you can hear what's going on. And today I am very fortunate. I am speaking with a professional. Jessica knows podcasts. She knows business, she knows what she's doing, and she is willing to give us a little bit of her time and attention. So, Jessica, could you just take a moment and tell all the lovely listeners who you are, where you be, and who you serve? Because I want to dive in.
Yes, I am the founder and CEO of Interview Connections. We help coaches turn podcast interviews into dream clients. I founded the company in 2013 when I was a new mom and wanted to be home with my now two kids. I have a 10 and an almost 13-year-old. And I've got a team of 11 full-time employees who are incredible. And we've worked with over 1,000 coaches. We've booked over 50,000 interviews. And I'm just very excited to be chit-chatting with you today.
Oh, I love that. And I love your stats. I have these moments where I'm like, oh, I know this really cool gal. And then I hear, because like I know what your business is, but the employees, the bookings, the stuff you've done. So this tells me one really important thing. You've done it. You've done the epic leap. You created the income. You're known for great things. But here's what I want to actually ask about, because we were talking about this earlier in our little pre-interview moment. Some stuff doesn't work the way that it used to. And what I'm wondering for you is how did you know when it was time for you to make an income leap, an epic leap, just move and change? When did you know that like maybe the old way wasn't as sustainable as it was? How did you know?
Well, I know I will bring you to the moment because it wasn't that long ago. And I'll there's like so much to share here, but we only have so much time. So the kind of the context that I want to share as a part of this story is that for the last 8 years, I had a 50% business partner who just left the company. And one of the conversations that we had in the 6 weeks before she left was she asked this really important question because her name is Margie Feltune, and she asks great questions that then uncover amazing answers. And one of the questions that she posed to us is, "What about this business feels like it can't be changed, but actually we can change anything because it's our business?"
Ooh,
And the two things that were changing were her leaving the company and changing the business model.
yes. Those are big things. Okay, so here's what I heard that was really important. You're willing to ask strong questions. You're willing to look at things, but I also bet there was a moment that you got to watch that things were needing to change, and then you were willing to take the leap. So I hear what you let go of, but tell me a little bit, dive in a little bit more. What did you actually change, let go of, or recreate? And what did it do to help you? And I know it's a new thing, but
Yeah.
access a new level of income. Like what, just walk us through a little bit about what was going down.
Yes. So what I changed. I've been speaking in the we, and it's still a we because we
Mm,
have a team, but
yeah.
what I changed was how we package our services. So we are a done for you agency. We deliver a service, which is booking coaches on podcasts. And for the last 8 years, we have delivered that service in the form of packages. Our clients have purchased a number of bookings total that we then deliver over the course of typically a year, right? I'm going to get 48 podcasts from you. You're going to book me 4 a month for the year. A lot of them would pay in full or do a payment plan. That's how we package our service for the last 8 years. And the change that we just made just in December was now we're actually going back to what I did when I first started the company, which is a membership model. So you get a certain number of bookings per month and it's a month to month. So what I got rid of was long-term contracts and
Mm.
packages. And what I am welcoming in is MRR, monthly recurring
Mm.
revenue. So I am in the process of the income leap because what happens when you change your model, typically from a package model to a membership with monthly recurring revenue, is that my business coach said it will suck for 3 to 6 months. And I
They're
was
not
like,
wrong.
yeah. So I'm currently kind of in the sucky phase right now. I'm not going to lie. However, we are seeing at a minimum $10,000. Like I'm, even if no sales close for the rest of the month, which they will, it's January 15th, we already are $10,000 higher in revenue this month than we were in December. And that will continue to go up as we build the number of members that we have.
I love this. And I know you're somebody that we can talk about numbers with. And I think that's really
Yes.
important. This is the income leap. It's not the let's be vague.
Yeah.
You're saying the word membership, but are you open to sharing actually what your price point is? Because here's what I want everyone to listen to. We hear the word membership, and sometimes we think $20 a
Oh,
month
yeah.
or $18 a month or even $100 a month. That's not what you're actually doing. And I think it's pretty darn remarkable and I love it. So, will you be willing to share both, not just your pricing, but how did you come to your pricing?
Yes. So we have 3 different membership tiers. From a sales perspective, we will recommend one after a discovery call of like, this is what I think is the best. So our gold level membership, which is the one in the middle, is 3 bookings a month. It's 1875 a month.
Mhm.
Um, if the member pays for the entire year, they'll get a month free, 20,000. Most people are enrolling month to month. And how we came to that is that previously our package of 30 bookings was 18,500 for 30 bookings and or no, it's 18. Yeah, it was 10 payments of 1850. So
Mm.
thinking in payment plan terms. Um, but the thing with packages, and one of the reasons we shifted is that we were discounting all the time to close sales. I'll give you a discount.
Ah.
I'll get $1,000 a month if you
Mm.
sign up this month. None of that. I don't discount anymore because it's month to month. I don't need to discount it. It's a month. Like you don't have to commit for a year. So that's another thing that we let go is we said goodbye to discounts. It's a lower price. It's a lower commitment, slightly higher price point. You know, if you're going to do the math of what you're paying per booking, it is higher now, but you have zero, well, not zero commitment, but you know what I mean.
I do. I know. I love what you're saying. There was a couple of years back, and it's funny as you're saying it, it's making me feel like I should refresh this offer. I used to offer one of my one-on-one packages is 5,000 a month for 6 months. Or if you'd say yes to the whole 12 months, it was 3750. And it was in the opposite direction. It was incentivizing stay longer versus discounting, and I love that you attached and connected that. I also know because of how much I know about you, you've priced appropriately. And I think that's the more important thing, whether it's a high price point or a low price point, the value that you're giving, the work that your team needs to do matches the price that you've set on the package, the program, the membership.
Yes, exactly. And I don't like on a regular basis pay attention to my competitors, but every so often I will do a scan and look at their websites and just see what they're doing just to know what the market is right now, right? Like just to be aware. And we're very comparable, like with other
Mhm.
agencies that do similar work with kind of like a full-time team. It's very fair. I have competitors that charge way more than us, and of course, we have competitors that are like, "How are you making any money with that price point?" Okay, so it's very in line, and as you said, it does reflect the value, and that's been another shift that we've made in our sales process is really showcasing the value so that it's not a transactional purchase for people. Because if it's purely transactional, like, oh, 1875 for bookings, it feels very expensive. But because we're doing, we have a mastermind call every month for clients, you get a dedicated booking agent, we're repurposing your interviews, like there's a lot to it. That's another thing that we've really been working on highlighting in the marketing and sales process.
Oh, that's critically important. I think this is for every service provider. I want you to hear something that Jessica just said is she didn't say we stuffed all these things in to make sure that you would believe that what we were doing was good enough. What she said was, I figured out what our service was in our core service and some ancillary items, some ways that we can support making our clients sticky. They're going to want to stick and stay. You've got something great and you've got the pieces that are going to make it work for them and a better way for you to deliver and hold container. I think you've I like to call them sometimes a perfect offer, but I think you created something that is both low risk, high reward, excellence in quality of service, and will actually give value. So I'm just going to pat you on the shoulder. Well
Oh,
done. Well done.
thank you. I appreciate that.
So here's what I actually want you to think about for a second. You understand how money flows and how money comes in, and you are willing to make this like bold choice. What do you see now about how you call in clients that maybe you didn't see before because you have a new offer?
Well, I think the thing I see now is who it's really for.
Mhm.
A big shift that I made is actually going all in on just speaking to my ideal client. I
Mm,
wasn't doing that before. My marketing was watered down because I know that so many types of business owners want to be on podcasts, and we're, the first ever podcast booking agency. We're very well known in our industry, and so I think I was like subconsciously afraid of making it seem like we couldn't serve everyone.
mhm.
Um, and the shift that I made was that even on the website and in our conversion events and all of like my posts, I'm just talking to coaches.
Oh,
Um,
love that.
and it's been an interesting shift because the no like the number of calls that are getting booked, the number of people registering for events is smaller, but the conversions have gone up, way up.
Mhm.
And because you're a sales girly, I will tell you conversion numbers on sales calls. We were for, I mean, months, years, hanging out at like a 10 to 15% sales call close rate.
Ooh.
We are at over 35%.
That's fantastic, especially because you're bringing in new audience. This isn't like
Yeah.
you're serving warm. That's huge. I want everyone to hear what you actually just said. One, you gave yourself permission to actually go for what is true and what you want. I'm glad you said that because I had a, ladies, if you want to know, people who are starting out, people who are very advanced, they all say the same things. One of my beloved clients who runs a multi-million dollar PR firm asked me the question of like, what do I do? I know exactly who I want to work with, but we keep getting these other people that show up and I feel like I have to say yes to them, or I don't really want to work. She's very polite about this. Not that I don't want to work with them, but like, am I turning away business? And I kept saying to her, a very similar thing that you just said, Jessica, which is when you are more defined, people know how to find you, they know how to buy from you, your conversions go up. And guess what? Less heavy lifting in your sales conversations. I bet previous to your change, that 10% close rate was also hard won. Like you had to really explain,
Oh my
really
God,
get people
so
there.
much effort. We were working so hard and we are still working hard, but we were working so hard to get that close rate. And now, and there's so many different, changes. We've changed the structure of our discovery call. Like we're spending a lot more time diagnosing before prescribing. Before it was like a quick,
Ooh.
like, you know, could we book them on podcasts and here's the offer and here's the pitch and trying to get them to sign up, where now it's like almost the entire call is like, what are your goals, what's the most challenging thing in your business right now, what's important to you, what's your offer, what's your price point, what's your package, where are you sending people to after a podcast interview. And I just, to give you an example, I just had a prospective client that I met with after the first call. I didn't make an offer or turn him away because I truly wasn't sure. I had to sit with it. I had to look back at the call, because I knew we could book him. Right? He's actually a sales trainer, kind of like in the automotive industry. I was like, well, he's got the expertise. He had the revenue. I knew he could afford us. But he did not have a funnel that could predictably convert
Mm.
his online offer. And I was like, if I
The
take him
back
on as
end.
yeah, I was like, if I take him on as a client, I can see it. I know what's going to happen. In 6 months, he's going to say, I've paid you thousands of dollars and I haven't gotten any sales. And I'm going to say, yeah, I knew that would happen because you don't have a website that can convert your leads. And so it was pained me, right? Because as a salesperson,
Mhm.
you're like, I want the sale. I think I can get you the sale. But I was like, this is not what he needs right now. He needs to work on his online presence. He needs to work on his funnel. And so I came to the second call and that's what I said. And he was like, I think you're totally right. I want to work with you, but not yet. And I was like, great.
Yeah. But you know what? This is integrity move because we were talking earlier about how to actually convert podcast conversations into
Yeah.
clients. And here's the truth. you don't just everyone you talk to sell to. Sometimes you find out, you're not meant for me. Let me point you to the other person. But I promise you, the way that you handled that call with him, he's going to go do the work and come back to you. And he
Yeah.
will probably send many, many more people your way because you didn't just go for the sale. You went for what was actually correct, what was actually right, and you took the time with it. It's amazing to hear that.
Yeah, and being and having a membership model, I'm really focused on retention. And like
Mhm.
I want someone to sign up and then be a member for a long time. I'm going to have a very high churn rate if I'm signing up people that aren't the right fit. And so that's also what's on my mind now as I have calls with people is like really making sure it's not just a close rate issue. It's like bringing in the right clients that we can actually help grow.
I love that you said this. It's funny. We haven't talked about this publicly, but I sunset one of our programs because we actually installed something into my business to accept more people that maybe weren't quite the right fits. It was that moment where we've all made these choices where I had people coming around me and I'm like, I can help them. I want to help them, but they didn't match the actual ideal client for me, not because of who they were, but where they were in their business. And the interesting thing was we brought a lot of them in. I think we had over, I don't know, 45 people over about 2 years sign up for this program. But I'm also going to tell you this, it was designed to get them ready to go to the next level. And we only had a handful that actually matriculated. And so, what you're talking about is don't just sell to the person in front of you if it's not actually their right fit. And if you spend time doing that, I think of all of that energy that I spent in that. It's not lost, but it was energy
Yeah.
spent that didn't turn around. So I love that you're willing to look at that. Here's where my thoughts go. If a woman's listening right now and she is like, I know I'm capable of more, I'm ready for more impact, more income, more ease, what would you say to her to be like willing to make a leap and make a change? Because you made a very big change by changing your partnership, by changing your model. And I know there are some women out there who are somewhere in that process and they're like, holding on, they're gripping tight to the thing and they maybe don't want to change or they're not sure if they're ready. What would you say to them?
Go find the right coach.
Oh, that's such a good message.
Go find the right coach. Truly. And if you're listening to this podcast, go join Laura's mastermind group, work with her because I I manifested the right coach for me when I started making these changes. Everything I'm
Mhm.
telling you here, I'm like I can't do every podcast interview and say Kevin said to do this, Kevin said to do this, but Kevin said to do this.
You
Like
know what you're saying here that's so important? It's the person who sees you and also has business acumen and can help you guide. I think it's like literally somebody who's not going to just let you leap off a bridge without seeing what you can do. You went and found somebody who spoke your language, sees you, understands you, and says, let's go together. That's what a real good coach is.
Yeah, and before I found my coach, I knew I wanted to do the membership model. I had mapped out the different tiers, but then there's a million different, should I do this way or this way? Should I make this tweak or this tweak? What do I do with this situation that just came up? Right? And having a coach who is where you want to be, has been where you want to go, that is what is needed because I would be struggling if I
Mhm.
didn't have somebody who already knows the way, right?
Mhm.
Like if we're looking at business as a map, right? We're on this treasure hunt. He exited an agency.
Mhm.
He's already done everything that I'm doing right now as an agency owner. So, yeah, to that woman that you described, get a coach. You don't have to do this alone.
I think that is the most important thing. When we are in business, when we are doing big moves, we are taking risks. Said this on another podcast. Like, hello, ladies. I actually think I even said this in my mastermind. All business is risk. Now, here's the difference. When you have great mentors and coaches around you, they help you mitigate your risk.
Hmm.
When you have support, you can calm your nervous system and make smart choices. But since you are taking a risk, be supported while you do it.
Yeah, totally. Because like there have been in the middle of all of this change, I have had late nights and early morning anxiety sessions with myself where I'm like, oh
Mm.
my gosh, what's going to happen? And when you have a coach that you can text or Voxer or however you communicate and just, he'll check in with me and I'll be like, I'm like, there was a text I sent, I'll share this because I think podcasts are the place to be vulnerable. I said, I'm afraid I'm going to run out of money.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. So, and he gave me a spreadsheet. And he's like, here's a spreadsheet I used in my agency to forecast the revenue. If you close this, he's like, how many sales do you think you can close next month? If you close 8, this is what your revenue will be. I'm like, oh, I can close more than that. And he's like, well, great. Then you're fine. Like,
That's everything. You know what I want everyone to hear? I feel like I have to give her a shout out. Tasha, who's just a beloved client of mine, says success leaves clues. And Jessica just dropped a big one. And what she said is tracking. Woo! One of the things that I know more than anything is that the way that money works, it does flow in a very magical way. But also, if you do not know your numbers, if you cannot predict what's going to happen, you get stuck. I just did this with a client of ours who she wants 10 clients this year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but she sells super premium to corporate. It's a lot. It's a lot. And we did the math. And what kept happening before we started working together was she would hope for 10. She would go reach out to as many people as she could, a lot of connections, a lot of conversations. You see the vagueness there. What we did is we sat down and realized she needed to have 100 qualified conversations. This is her numbers, not yours. And we also realized she would need to connect with 358, yes, 358, not 357 or four people in order to convert 100 people to be willing to have a conversation with her. What happened is it calmed her. She now has metrics. She can go take action. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Maybe those people she reaches out to will become clients. It's probably going to be magically, it shows up from a different direction, but she's soothed, calmed, and taking action. And that's exactly what Jessica's able to do. She calmed herself by looking at the data and saying, oh, if I just close 8, I'm okay. And it's not, where's 8 going to come from? You put your feet back on the ground so that you could leap up really high.
yeah. And also, knowing your numbers makes it easier for a coach to advise you. One of the reasons that my coach is able to advise me effectively is that I have given him so much data on our business. He's like, wow, you know your numbers better than any client that I have. And it's not because I have worked in the past with coaches that prescribe the framework that works, right?
Mm, hmm.
And magically, surprisingly, it didn't work for us. And then it's
Oh,
like, and then I get frustrated. And so with my current coach, Kevin, I'm like, even if he would start to, I'm like, wait, no, let me show you the spreadsheet. Let me show you our numbers here. Let me show you what this says. So that way, before anything is prescribed, I say, here is the data. I showed him within the first couple of days. I said, I need you to see our P&L because I want you to have the full picture. I don't want any
mm.
coaching or advice without you knowing exactly what's happening, not my story of it. I want you to see the numbers.
Yeah, I freaking love that. And I think what's really important here is a few points. One, data informed decision making. Always check your gut, check your intuition, but check the data. That's critical. And the second thing that you said, which I want to do the loud clap, the slow clap, the all the claps, is find somebody who actually uniquely to you defines what they need. Anytime, I will say the thing about frameworks, systems, and such, they work if you have a nearly identical business, bank account,
Yeah.
human design as the person
Yeah.
who created it. And if you don't have nearly identical, you're going to think that there's something wrong with you. So find yourself somebody who sees you, gets you, and accommodates and matches. Okay, we have time for one last question, Jessica.
Okay.
Well, before we go there, one, how do people find you? Because when I know good people, I want to get everyone in their direction. And if you are a coach listening and think you want to be on podcasts, but more importantly, want to get clients from it, you need to find your way to Jessica. What's the best way to find you online and out there in the ether?
Yeah. Go to interviewconnections.com. Go to interviewconnections.com. That is my home base on the web. Of course, if you search Jessica Rhodes Interview Connections, you'll find all the various socials and whatnot. Do whatever you want to do. But if you're like, I am a coach and I want to get clients and podcast interviews sounds like the right fit for me, go to interviewconnections.com.
I love it. Okay, so let me ask this question. What does an epic leap feel like from the inside for you? Not just financially, but as a woman, as a leader, what does it feel like?
It feels like I am building a parachute after I already jumped off the cliff.
Ladies, you all need to hear this because here's what's more important about that. That is accurate. That is what it feels like. But what I want everyone to hear, and Jessica, I want you to hear this too. You actually already know how to build the parachute. You just chose to leap before you built it. It's not like you didn't know you needed a parachute or not know how to build it. You were willing to take the leap. And I salute you on that one.
And I've heard this metaphor I've first heard it probably over 10 years ago when I was first starting out in business. But I actually did jump off a cliff with a parachute. I went paragliding in Switzerland this summer.
Wow.
So I'm
How
familiar
was
with
that?
incredible. So honestly, it's both the parachute was built when I jumped off the cliff. So it was good. I was in tandem with some Australian
Safe,
guy.
safe and maybe well held.
But it's actually really funny. After we landed on the ground, he went to like take off the thing, and I gave him a hug because I thought he was hugging me, and because the
Oh,
adrenaline was so high, and he was like, I just need your parachute." And I was like, "Oh, okay. We're not
okay.
having a moment here." But anyway, that's what it feels like. It feels exciting. It feels like, am I gonna hit the ground before I build the parachute? That's truly what
Mm,
it feels like.
yeah. So to be brave, to be willing to do that, that is everything. Okay. I like to ask this question at the end as well. So I one more. That's what I always say. You have the microphone. You're speaking to the whole world. One golden nugget, one you must listen. And if you had the moment to say it, what would you say?
Oh my God. Clearly I will be just stage fright, apparently, if I'm speaking to the entire world. I mean, the message that what I think I'm on the planet to do is to show people what's possible for them.
Mm,
I feel like that's what I was drawn to business for, to start a business, to grow it to six figures, seven figures, like something that very few female entrepreneurs ever do. And I feel like my purpose on earth is to keep showing women and a few cool men, as you say, like what's possible.
mm,
And so I think my message to the world is you can do more than what you're
mm,
doing right now.
mhm. That's it. Ladies, listen in. You can do more than you're doing right now. So thank you. Thank you for just for taking the time to talk with us, to connect in. Ladies, I hope you heard something important and potent and powerful and that you go take your next leap forward. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.